Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Bearcat Blitz podcast. I'm your host, Russ Heltman, right here on the Believe Network. Of course, I'm my co-host, former UC wide receiver Dominick Goodman across the way. And what a wonderful, wonderful start to the 2023 season for the Cincinnati Bearcats football team. 27-21 victory over the Pitt Panthers on the road. They take out a top 30 team. And we'll start right there, Dominick, as I welcome you in, my man. You had it right. I had it wrong. I think you had the exact score almost. It was 20. You had 27-24, and I had 24-21 Panthers. You had 27-24 UC. They end up winning 27-21. That defense buckles down in the second half. The offensive line was shaky, but they found a way to hold on in the face of one of the best pass rushes in the country over the past 4 seasons.
Yeah, just like I predicted, they got the run game going, which really hurt Pittsburgh a lot and the phases of the game. And they was worried about their receivers, so they was playing far off, so they was giving them an opportunity to catch underneath routes, extending the drive. So it was good. It was a good game overall for the offense. I told you the game was gonna win in the trenches, and the defense stepped up, making big plays, getting to the quarterback when they needed to, and especially towards the end, just coming down, making a play. I knew it was going to happen. I'm kind of want to change what they're going to be at the end of the season. I don't think they're going to be 7-5. I'm kind of pushing more to the 10-2, 10-3. We'll see.
Competing for a Big 12 title game spot with that record for sure. If they end up going 10-2 then or 9-3. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I predicted 6-6, and with that victory over Pitt, that was kind of the fulcrum point for me to picking them to go over 500 versus right on that 6-6 number. I had that as a loss. They end up getting the victory there, and like you mentioned, the run game once again palpable. Over 200 yards rushing in back-to-back weeks to start the season. Corey Kiner sets another career high with 153 rushing yards, 20 carries on the day, had a career-long 68-yard scamper. Couldn't quite get Corey into the end zone there. Need to maybe see him hit the burners a little bit on those last 15 yards or so, but a huge day for Kiner. Aaron Turner had a couple nice runs as a wide receiver on some end arounds, 2 for 22. Emory Jones took a couple more sacks in this one, was a little bit under pressure a little bit more often in this game, took 2 sacks in the face of that Pittsburgh defensive line, but was very steady, ended up with a 61.3 QBR, didn't throw for a ton of yards. It was basically a little bit of a crashing back to earth for Jones, but just one turnover on the day for the Bearcats, who had the only turnover of the afternoon. It was by Emory Jones on the UC side, but then on the Pittsburgh side, Phil Jerkovich loses a big fumble for the Pittsburgh Panthers. It helps the Bearcats hold on to that lead, and no points in the fourth quarter. They weathered 2 touchdowns from Pittsburgh, but they were able to hold on, and I think it kind of showed the ultimate kind of identity and togetherness that this team has, Dominick, where you can go through that kind of game on the road, not the most daunting environment. Heinz Field or Acrisure Stadium, they're calling it now, wasn't completely packed to the gills, but it's still a road contest. It's still a pretty big house, and it's still a defense that came for Cincinnati, an offense that is pretty solid, came into the game analytically ranked top 40 in the country, and was able to pick up momentum in the fourth quarter, but they shut that down, and they got what, in my opinion, Dominick, is the biggest win for this program dating back almost 2 years to the victory in South Bend over Notre Dame to really spark that college football playoff run. I don't think there's any other win over that time period since then that's come close to meeting this one that they just notched on Saturday night.
It was a big win, especially to start the whole season off. Gave you kind of what everybody kind of was waiting for, to see what they're going to do against a good caliber team such as Pitt. And seeing that, especially going to away game, away games can be kind of hard, when things not going your way. You don't have the fans to give you that motivation, because, the game is all about, what do you want to call it? I can't figure the word I'm looking for, but pretty much it's a game of ups and downs. So
Yeah.
you just gotta weather the storm, go through the battles, and that's when you said they come together as a team and they fought through it. Came together and made plays, and it's a big win. It's just more to come and more games to go.
Braden Smith, huge touchdown for the Bearcats in this game, was solid. The leading receiver, 5 catches for 59 yards and a touchdown. And of course, had the massive third quarter score to put the Bearcats up 27-7. At that point, it felt like we may be on for a rout and a dominant victory for UC that with them getting some votes in the AP poll, maybe would have pushed them even closer to top 25 status, but they give up the 14-0 run in the third quarter and end up holding on. But that 21-yard pass from Jones to Braden Smith, he's rolling out to his right, Dominic, catches it in a similar type of position in that end zone as Ben's to Pike in 2009. I thought that was very interesting how in sync those two plays were, and I think it was Barstool Cincinnati on X came up with an awesome kind of flash in, flash out, side by side melding of Pike to Benz and Jones to Smith. I thought it was very cool, and there was a photographer from Pitt that got some great photos of that sequence. I forget his exact name, but he did a great job on Saturday night and got a great photo of Donovan Ollie holding up the L to one of the Pittsburgh cornerbacks. The rivalry is still alive and well, Dominic, and it's been a strong showing in this rivalry for UC over the past 4 to 5 outings across the 13 games in this series.
Yeah, I mean that. First of all, that throw was remarkable, man. He was like got out of the RPO. It was a chance so he can run, take off. So and him to throw it on the run like that was crazy. I thought that
was
the
catch too, just the way he bent his body back the other way when he was flashing towards the interior of the end zone, bends his body back, catches it over the shoulder, and drags that right knee, gets that lone kneecap to touch the grass. And that was all he needed, Dominic. Just need one kneecap in college football to get that touchdown. And what a touchdown it was. It ended up being the difference in the game for the Bearcats.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard catch to make. I don't think people understand how hard it is to catch it over the shoulder and all that going on, DB on you, draping on you. But that was a great play, great catch, man. Because I even want to talk about with Smith with I didn't know he could throw the ball like that with a little reverse receiver pass. I was like, man, he put that on a dime.
Yeah, he put that was like a sideline throw too, that he had little area to work with and just put that thing. I think it wasn't on the sideline. The receiver was going towards the right sideline from what I can remember.
So, yeah, he had like a little post corner route and hit him right in the sideline. It was a dot. And I'm like, man, I didn't know he probably played quarterback back in high school as well.
He did. Yeah, he did. I was asking him about that because he's obviously got the stats at Louisville where he's thrown passes before. I was like, you played quarterback in high school, didn't you? That's why they're letting you do that. He's like, yeah, I was a multi-year starter quarterback. So they're trusting my arm a little bit out there. And also the pilot on the team. They got 2 wins now, Dominic, and Braden told me that he was going to be making a trip on his plane with him piloting the plane, an incentive for his teammates to be able to go up in the skies with him. So maybe we'll have to get a social media guy from UC to go up with them and get video of that. I'm sure, hopefully that's coming very, very soon. Wrapping up this game kind of on 30,000 foot view and then getting to some fallout and some news coming off of it after the break here on Bearcat Blitz here. With Russ Heltman, your All Bearcats reporter on Fan Nation. Look us up on allbearcats.com and with Dominic Goodman. And this is the Bearcat Blitz podcast available on Talking Cats with Russ Heltman YouTube page. You can subscribe, give us 5-star reviews. Please, we welcome all those on YouTube, on on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. You can check out Bearcat Blitz twice per week on a team that we're covering, Dominic, 8th in the country on PFF through 2 games in terms of overall team performance grade. They've been given a 92 overall by PFF through 2 games. Multiple standout players. Malik Vann, the defensive end who had a half tackle for loss, half sack, just posted his highest PFF grade of his career, Dominic. And I think Peyton Singletary also posted a career high as well. He was the highest graded offensive player for UC, 82.6, I believe, for Singletary, and a 92.3 for Malik Vann. Singletary, as we kind of go into break here, he's kind of been the surprise for me on this offense, how much he's been involved, how many targets he's gotten. I really thought Shimon Mater would be the go-to receiving option at their tight end position, but it's been Singletary so far, and he's 2 for 2 so far in games this season, scoring touchdowns, Dominic.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing as well, but we ain't at the practices all like that. We're not in the film room, so some
It's true.
things can, far as it seems like Singletary is more equipped for more of the pass game, more of the dinks and dunks and getting out into routes. But you never know. It's the start of the season. It's a long season, but when they get the other tight end going, I think it's gonna be a nice show to watch, seeing both tight ends perform the way where we kind of predict how they're gonna perform.
Yeah, Singletary third on the team on Saturday with 24 receiving yards, second on the team in catches with 4 grabs and that touchdown. And then D. Wiggins mixed in with 3 catches for 52 yards. He's had a solid start through his UC career, albeit on a little bit lower target volume than other players. Going to take a quick break here on Bearcat Blitz. When we come back, a really, really in-depth look at our player of the game. Is pass blocking a problem for this team, or was it just a vaunted defensive line that they ran up against in Pittsburgh? And the battle for the victory bell up next. We take a look at the Bearcats being 16.5-point favorites over Miami after being 24 or 24.5-point favorites over Miami last year going into this contest. All that coming up on Bearcat Blitz. Stick with us right here on the Believe Network. Russ Eltman, your All Bearcats reporter. Find All Bearcats on Fan Nation. Just look up allbearcats.com, and Dominick Goodman joining you as well, former UC wide receiver. UC is 2-0 on the season. They have one of the highest relative point differentials in the entire sport, 8th highest relative point differential in the country, according to K Ford Ratings, which takes a look at the amount of points the average FBS team would be expected to win their games by. And over the first 2 weeks, the Bearcats ranked 8th in terms of over exceeding their expectations on those point totals. Have covered, obviously, in both contests. A 21-point spread in week 1. They dominate by 43 points. They literally doubled the point spread there. And then in week 2, they more than doubled the point spread. We're 6.5-point underdogs at the start of kickoff. When you and I did this show last week, Dominick, they were, or on Thursday in the previous show, they were 8-point underdogs. So some sharp money came in, bet the Bearcats down under a touchdown. It was sharp and smart money at that, as the Bearcats get the outright victory and cover by roughly 12 to 13 points. They have outseeded expectations, Dominick. And I think it's been kind of a mixed bag in terms of nice impact across the entire roster. You and I were praising Emory Jones and Xavier Henderson last week. And this week, I'd probably go with a defensive player as my player of the game. And I'm going to roll with Jack Dingle, the fastest linebacker, one of the fastest players on the entire team. 7 tackles, had a sack, 2 tackles for loss. I believe the 7 tackles were a career high for Dingle. He was just fantastic in this game, flying all over the place. The sack was amazing. Like, it was just a shoot the gap right up the middle blitz. I think it came in the 3rd quarter or beginning of the 4th quarter, and just wrecked Phil Jurkovich on that. Dingle and the rest of that defensive front, Dominick, they made Phil Jurkovich feel all 60 minutes of that football game on Saturday. And that physicality, that intimidation, and that steadiness from those 11 players and those 11 positions on that side of the football helped guide this Bearcats victory in a way that you could foresee happening in the offseason, with this being the strength of the team coming back.
Yeah. I mean, he had a great game, by the way. He got to the quarterback, what they needed to do, and had the quarterback throwing it up, making mistakes. But, I'm an offensive guy, so I got to go with Connor. Connor
All right.
did a great job, just like I said, getting that run game going, putting them in position to kick field goals, position to score, and putting in a position not where it's going to be a whole bunch of 3rd and longs. You're getting your 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 4s. As an offensive coordinator, you love those situations. So Corey Connor is doing a great job in the run game for UC, and to continue doing that helps a lot with the pass game.
Corey Connor, a 72.2 overall PFF grade on Saturday, 79.7 pass blocking grade. That's great to see. You like to see him being able to protect Emory Jones out there, especially against that kind of pass rush that they face. Then a nice solid 71 rushing grade for Kiner, who has been fantastic, is hitting the holes in the right places, is making sure he takes full advantage of some of these just Mack truck sized holes in the wide zone rushing scheme that this offensive line is creating. On the flip side, though, Dominic, as we move away from our players of the game, and before we get to the top 25 votes in the AP poll, the pressure Emory Jones was under, the lack of downfield throws, kind of the constriction of the playbook in the second half due to that Pittsburgh defensive front. As I mentioned, they had two sacks on the day, 6 tackles for loss. There were multiple quarterback hits. Like, they were in the backfield throughout the evening, Dominic. It didn't end up leading to a UC loss. Is that concerning for you? Is it just another game where these guys need to get some reps under their belt against a really good defensive front? What's your concern level for the offensive pass blocking situation right now out of UC?
I don't know if it's too much concern. We kind of knew Pitt coming into it, had a good defense, a good defensive line, and they're gonna bring the pressure. And you gotta not so much of a veteran line, so guys still trying to get acclimated with each other, still get that chemistry, still get that whole connection. Because when it comes down to pass blocking, you got to communicate because you got different stunts, different schemes going behind it. So it all takes a lot of communication. And I really don't feel like it's too much to worry about, but it's just something they're gonna keep going forward with it, fix the mistakes, watch the film, and just be at practice more and more, repping the same things and getting ready for Miami.
UC gets the win, 27-21, despite, like I mentioned, a massive drop-off in yards from Emory Jones, massive drop-off overall in production from the passing attack. But when you can run the football like Scott Satterfield and this offensive staff wants to run the football and post over 200 yards of rushing each week, you can control the clock, which the Bearcats did in this contest. Looking at the time of possession right here, it was in favor of Cincinnati, 34-25. When you can force the offense to be out on the field for 35 minutes almost and have your defense play just 25 minutes on the other side of snaps, that's just as simple as it can get sometimes. And that's why establishing the run is often so important. It's so impactful when you can get that run game going, and it can help stave off some of those passing problems that the Bearcats did have, but it ultimately didn't do them in. They were still able to score 27 points. Final couple of notes here as we close out this Bearcat Blitz. A really good start to the season for UC. They are now 30th in K Ford's overall team ratings, a 12-spot jump with the upset victory over Pitt. I haven't checked Bill Connolly's SP Plus ratings on ESPN, but I would imagine they have taken a big jump there as well. And Dominic, they've received 3 votes in the AP poll this week. The first time this season they have received votes. They're roughly, I think, top 35 team, counting all the votes in the coaches poll that they received, and a top 41 team, counting, I think they're 41st in the AP poll when you look at just overall votes for teams and getting outside the top 25. Knocking on the door, expected the blowout Miami, and then, Dominic, you have the most anticipated game set up in the history of Nippert Stadium, quite possibly, in terms of, actually, I wouldn't say the history of Nippert Stadium. The AAC championship game a couple years ago was a massive game, and that had massive implications. But in terms of overall opponent caliber and the trajectory that a UC team is on at the moment, it really doesn't get a whole lot bigger. It's hard to get bigger than Oklahoma coming to UC with a potential ranking next to UC's name attached to them, or the potential to get a ranking if they start 4-0 with that final victory in September over Oklahoma. Whew, it's going to be a good one. Big 2-week stretch, and a fun 2-week stretch that maybe Bearcats fans weren't necessarily anticipating when they were looking at that wide receiver core at the spring game in April.
Yeah, especially with the going against Miami rivalry game, it's going to be a blowout. That's how I feel. So we don't got to worry too much about that one. So they can get their rest at the second half and get ready for Oklahoma. And the biggest game is Oklahoma right now. That's a game where you can win that game, especially at the NIP. Everything's in your favor because, playing at the NIP's a whole different ball game. And I don't think people really understand that feeling of just being in that secluded area. It's just like a bowl, rocking. It's just I can't really explain. Bring chills up and down my spine still to this day. So I think it's going to be a game where if UC can really establish that run and make a couple explosive plays, and defense put pressure on the quarterback, and and limit the penalties and turnovers, I think it's a game UC can pull out of. It's going to be one of them games they got to play perfect and play sound.
No doubt. No doubt. Going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to judge that one over the next couple of weeks. We'll be back on your feeds this Thursday with a full preview of Miami. Not really looking at who's going to win. I think Dominic and I, it's pretty well known we're going to pick the Bearcats in this one. Can UC cover the spread? That's going to be more interesting to me. Can they earn some style points and maybe earn a ranking next to their name before the Oklahoma matchup in a couple weeks? An Oklahoma team that, having never played at Nippert Stadium, well, having not played there in over 10, 15 years. Right? Did you guys do a home and home with the 2009 team or 2018?
No, we played them away, and then they came and played at Paul Brown.
Okay, well, there you go. There you go. It's a program that's never been to Nippert Stadium, maybe underestimating a little bit. We'll dive into that storyline. I think that's very interesting. I'm excited to hear what Dominic's got to say about that over the next couple of weeks. For Dominic Goodman, I'm Russ Heltman. This has been Bearcat Blitz. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube, Talking Cats with Russ Heltman, and check us out on Valley Sports each and every weekend before the Bearcats kick off their game that week. This is the Bearcat Blitz on the Believe Network.
Looking for Pierce. Did he hang on? Yes. Touchdown. The back as I have been around. Here he goes again. Busts free. Jerome Ford down the sideline. Foot race. House call. Touchdown. 79 yards. Big one in the Peach Bowl. This is a big one too. And it's going to go all the way to the house on the first play